I'm Melissa Hay, Missy Hay. I have a little store in a little ski town in Kimberley, British Columbia, Canada, on the western side of Canada. What I'm going to show you guys today, a technique that I'm going to show you guys today, using sunflower transfer, which I'm actually going to use as a daisy, but it all depends on what color you color the petals, and the Peonies stamp. So I have quite a few peonies because peonies are beautiful. So it's the one beautiful thing we can grow in this town, in our town, without all the deer eating it. What I'm gonna be doing today is showing you guys how to make a porch sign, or any kind of sign, really. It's more of a technique of doing these flowers with these big flowers. So we've got chrysanthemum, sunflower, and the peonies. I'm just gonna do the peony and the sunflower today, and I'm gonna use it as a daisy because that's another thing that's going off right now in my community out in the wildlife, actually the wild Shasta daisies. So we're gonna use these, and I'm gonna do a porch sign today, possibly for my house. I might not get it completely done. And like I say, I'm just gonna use a technique today using these as an outline to show you guys some masking techniques with these, as well as adding color without worrying about there being, you know, staying in the lines or things like that. So there's a real trick. If you haven't seen this before, it's really, really simple. So I've already got one of them done here. I'm actually going to show you guys what I've done here. So like I said, I've been doing lots of classes lately. Sorry, this is going to be backwards for you guys. The writing's going to be backwards, but this is a sign for outside of my store. So I'm going to try to replicate this one today and show you guys how I did this. Super easy. Literally just threw on the color, blended it with some water, and then restamped it. So I have all these old shutters that I had, like 160 of these shutters that I upcycled, like I salvaged. So this one says Sunny Days. This was a custom order. The customer's still waiting to come and get it. This one I added some transfers to. So I did a little bit of the sprigs behind, but this is what I did with the stamps, just the sunflower stamp. And as you can see, I just watercolored it in. I used a couple shades of yellow and some orange, and I just blended the watercolor. This is the retro. I almost always use the retro on these big porch signs just because it gives the boldest lettering. Luckily, they're about 3.5 feet tall, and the welcome actually fits really perfect down the middle. But you can do anything, really. You can custom make anything if you have the retro font is a good one because you can color in the letters however you want them. So I've already done the peony just for time's sake, and I stamped it on first. The first thing I did, I don't know if you guys can see this, you can see the lines. I actually used the stone gray, and then I just watercolored, you know, I blended a couple of different shades of color in there, and I didn't worry about them if they got over the lines. It doesn't matter, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna actually imprint over top of it with the black ink, and you won't even be able to tell. It'll actually look amazing. So the idea is just to get a variety of color down on that outline, and then you're going to take your black ink. So first I started with the stone gray. If I had done this on a black background, I would have probably done the white mixing ink. You can see that one really well on a dark background. The idea is to just give you an outline so you have lines to color in the colors. So then I will get the black. Now this is a little bit tricky. Is you want to figure out where it goes before. Otherwise you're kind of sitting here and the ink could be drying, trying to figure it out. Ask me how I know. I've done that so many times. So now I just sort of lay it out first. Got my IOD ink pad all inked up really well. And it doesn't matter if you go slightly out of the lines. You can always touch it up later. See, here we go again. Okay, there we go. So just try to match it up to the outline of the stone gray as much as you can. Try not to shift. And then just sort of press down on all the lines as much as you can. I do love the peony one. And you know what else I've done with this peony stamp is 2 years ago, I actually did reds with green, and I did it at Christmas, and it totally looked like a poinsettia. I did lots of yellow in the middle like a poinsettia, and it really, like, who'da thunk. So yes, if you can use it for a poinsettia as well at Christmas, it looks really pretty then too. All right. So now you can really see the detail. And I did not really worry very much about, you know, keeping in lines or how perfect it was. I did go off the line a little bit, but I could always touch that up if it bothers me. It doesn't actually bother me, but I'm pretty good at embracing my imperfections. It's taken a long time to get there though. It is a slogan here at Missy Hay Collective that we embrace imperfection because everything's done with your hands and it's about the enjoyment of it. And if you stress out about all the little things, it just takes away the enjoyment of what we're doing. It diminishes it a little bit. It's so much easier if we just can embrace it. Okay, so that's the first one. The first one you do will be sort of your foreground. The next step is to show you guys a little bit of masking. So if you have bought any of the stamps recently, then you know that all of them come with masking. This one's getting peed up. As you can tell, I use the Peony stamp a lot. Ideally, you might want to wait for this ink to dry, but I am using acrylic paint today because I don't want to have to worry about sealing this after. So it hopefully won't smudge. I'm going to try to be really careful. So now I place the mask down. So now I'm going to try to do this daisy behind. I think I'm going to go up a little bit higher and try to get more of the daisy in this one. The mask is covering the peony. So now I'm going to take the stone gray to do the outline, and it will be fainter and easy to cover over. You won't even see it once you've got your paint down. But this is your outline, so you have an image to color. I'm going to make this a daisy, not a sunflower, by just coloring the petals white. Try to get as much of it every corner so that it's got the outline, and then lift it. So now you have a faint image done in stone gray. Then you figure out your shades of different colors you want to paint that. I'm going to just try to be careful. As you can see now, it's behind. So we've layered it without them blending into each other and just looking annoying and weird. I could almost leave it like that. It looks super pretty like that, faint and almost in the background. I think what I will also do, well, I've got the peonies. Oh yeah. Actually, what I also want to do is put some leaves on here, because the peony comes with a ton of really pretty leaves. Let's see if I can do this again, matching this up. This is always the trick. I'm just gonna stamp them anyway. I'm gonna be careful and just stamp them. The leaves. Maybe I won't even need it to be masked off. Do it in the gray. So I have an outline. This one's actually the prettiest leaf out of all of them. It kind of curls up. I might do some more later, but let's just get going on to the next phase here. You could keep your masking on this peony if you wanted to. I personally not too worried about it. So I'm just going to go in and throw a few shades. I've got some, I want this to be a daisy instead of a sunflower. So I'm going to paint the petals shades of white. I've got my white here that I used on the background, but I don't want it to be just that because I want it to have more dimension. So I've got some cream colors here, and I just have a little pot of water, and I'm just gonna kind of blend. And hopefully you guys are gonna see this in white. I never even thought of that. It might have been better to do a sunflower. And then a bit of the off-white. And again, you're not gonna worry about covering up any of these lines because you are going to stamp over top of this with black. So it will, they will all just, all those pretty shades of white will be behind and it won't matter. Even if I did do them the same color white as the background, which some of it is gonna be, it's not gonna matter because it's gonna have this black background once I stamp it again. And then I'll do the yellow in the middle. Okay, so a few shades of white in there. It's not perfect. Let's add a little bit of yellow. Again, I'm not gonna worry about there being any covering up of any of the lines because it's gonna get stamped over. Still looks pretty even in the stone gray. Let's maybe do the leaf down here with some greens. I'm actually using Fusion mineral paint. That's what I'm using. It's like an acrylic based paint. So this one's not a chalk paint. The nice thing about this one is I don't have to seal it. So I know this is going outside. It is going on my covered porch, but it's going outside. It could get sprayed with the hose. I mean, you can seal them, but for ease sake, I'm just not gonna worry about sealing this by just using paint that doesn't need to be sealed because it's got a built-in top coat in it. It's acrylic. So let's do a little bit of darker green in here. And this is almost done. I'm just gonna do a few variety, just blending a couple of different shades of green in here, just to get a few shades of color in here. You don't even have to get like every area of it. If a little bit of the negative space being left is not a bad thing. I might have to take the hairdryer to this daisy so I can stamp it again. So you definitely want to wait till the paint is dry before you stamp the black outline. And it was actually kind of cool. You can see I used the hairdryer to the peony, and it really, I had some of it was quite watery, and it really gave a nice watercolor effect. And these are not watercolor paints, they're just watered down acrylic. So see how that's happening a little bit with the leaf? It actually gave a really cool effect. Okay, dries pretty fast. It's not perfectly dry, but it should be okay. So here is the peony mask for this stamp. There it is. Ta-da! All right, so now that I've masked off my peony again, I've added paint to my daisy. Now I'm going to take the black ink this time. So I'm just gonna load up. Okay, and I'm not gonna worry about that I got the whole thing because it is not gonna bleed into the peony because I've masked it off. Now this is gonna have to be another trick to match this sunflower or this daisy up. Ugh. Forgot to do that first. It's always good to do it first before you ink it up because if I drop this, I would cry. Okay, I think I got it. There we go. Try to line it up with the stone gray outline as much as you can see. But like I said, if it doesn't look terrible. It actually looks kind of pretty, even if it almost gives it even more dimension if you're slightly off, strangely. Because I've done it both ways. Oh, see, I really was off this time, but that's okay. I'm off right here. But I could almost take a fine brush and, oops, there we go. All right, so there we go. Now I'm gonna take the mask off. There we go. Do the same thing to the leaf here. I don't actually have to mask this off because they're not overlapping. Hopefully you guys got the gist of how simple this is to just do the stamp in one lighter color, throw in some color, some paint over top, using that as an outline, and then stamping over it. And now you have IOD flowers that are not gonna fade in the sun because these paints don't fade the way that the transfers do. But they do look super pretty with transfers added in if it's not gonna go in the full sun. So I will often mix in these and then put some flowers in as well. And since this is gonna be for me, and since it will not be in full sun, I might just add some of the Elysium transfers to this. There you go, a peony and a daisy with a little bit. I'll probably add a few more leaves in here. I think I'm just gonna put the word hello down the center. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the retro font for this one. The farmhand font actually looks really pretty. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. You guys have a wonderful day. Take care.